Welcome to My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Malerie as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
All right, welcome. Today we are going to talk about a passion project that Malerie and I have. We have done a lot of experiments on ourselves this past year, and we have talked to a lot of different doctors, and I've been going to functional health for blood work, and Mallory's been going to Ways to Wells for her blood work outside of the normal doctor procedures. And so we've been able to do a lot of comparing and contrasting and learning and growing. And so today we're going to talk about all the things that we have learned this year and that we're going to experiment with on our next adventure into our doctor's office. So we really want to become a team with our doctor and help all of us be successful quicker, in a quicker turnaround and more precise way. So today we are going to be talking about the exact 5 questions that we're going to bring to our doctors on our next wellness visit. And it's all based on the work of all the amazing doctors that we have read this year. Dr. Casey Means, By Good Energy, The Glucose Revolution, Dr. Mindy Peltz, Dr. Stacey Sims, like all these amazing women who have really helped us on this journey this year. So we are going to stop guessing and we are actually going to hack our own health and hopefully be super successful with this. So we do have a companion sheet that we are going to be uploading for you. If you want to try this experiment with us, because it is an experiment, you're going to take these questions into our doctor's office and we'll see how we're going to, and then we're going to come back and revisit this and talk about our outcomes and what happened. So if you want to do it with us, you're more than welcome to download the freebie on our website at www.mywellnessrewired.com/shop. It has our freebies in it. Yes. And so you can download it and take it into your next wellness visit and then let us know how it goes. It'd be fun to do it together.
Yeah, this cheat sheet's going to be super cool because these questions they're a little bit complex. We've kind of tried to condense the information that we need our doctor to help us get. And so that's why we made a very easy printable sheet so that you guys can just print it and take it with you and be like, this is what I need. And so we're going to walk through it today, but it's really just the compilation of the things that are tools that you kind of need to understand where you sit with your health, right? These are some quantifiable data that you can use to understand your body better and where to focus.
To improve your overall health, for sure.
Yes, exactly. Really today, the fight that we're fighting, just want us to kind of like really just take it in for a couple minutes. That I feel like the system that we're living in, the food system, the medical system, it's all conglomerating into a system that makes us sick if we aren't actively combating some of the things out there, the ultra processed foods, the lack of education on the way to live that keeps you healthy. And so again, I'm going to go back to the statistic that is crazy. And that's only 6.8% of American adults are actually metabolically healthy. So 93.2 of us have at least one marker of dysfunction. When you think about metabolic markers, we're talking about high blood sugar, we're talking about insulin resistance, we're talking about blood pressure, waist circumference, this sort of stuff.
Yeah, metabolic markers about the waist circumference shocked me. I was like, that as a higher marker of your metabolic health than anything is the circumference of your waist. I was like, gotta work on that.
I know, right? We are definitely part of the 93%, guys. Okay.
But I have been working on it. So it is getting smaller, but it takes a lot of effort.
Yes, it does. It's a major, it's your lifestyle, like everything. Anyway, we'll go there, but it's amazing how much it really just comes down to the choices you make every day,
And the metabolic syndrome now affects nearly 39% of U.S. adults, with rates climbing, especially noticeable in women during perimenopause and beyond, which is sad for me, not you yet, but for me.
Well, and the thing that was interesting about this is I was like, I don't even know what metabolic syndrome is. So I actually looked it up. And basically metabolic syndrome is if you have 3 or more of 5 markers. And that's the large waist circumference, if you have high triglycerides, which is a certain type of fat in your blood, if you have low HDL cholesterol, which is your good cholesterol, if you have high blood pressure, or if you have high fasting blood glucose, AKA if you're suffering from insulin resistance.
Mm.
And so if you have 3 of these 5, then you would be considered to have a metabolic syndrome. And so nearly 39% of US adults have metabolic syndrome. That was a totally new thing as we went down down the research hole that this came up.
That is so interesting. So it really isn't one thing, it's multiple things. And so if you have 3 out of the 5 of the multiple things, then that really means that you have the metabolic syndrome. That's interesting.
Yeah, which is basically just your body telling you that, your cells are not making energy efficiently, right? And the thing that's so powerful about this is once you know your markers, then you can actually take control and reverse it before you have bigger problems.
Because a lot of those is actually your lifestyle. So that, like, changing your lifestyle will automatically reflect in your metabolic health.
Right, exactly. Like and metabolic health, as we're learning, is poor metabolic health is what leads to chronic disease. And so like all of these things are so within our own power, and I love that.
All right, why this hits women harder? Women are so lucky that they have a lot of hormonal shifts. We have our monthly cycle, pregnancy, perimenopause, menopause. Men don't have any of that. But we get all of it, and it accelerates your insulin resistance, your visceral fat, and inflammation. And inflammation is the highest risk factor and often the most underdiagnosed, don't you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. Because like in the short term, it's your body's natural defense system. You get a cut, you get an infection. Inflammation is where everything rushes to fix the acute problem. But what we're really dealing with that is what is underdiagnosed is that chronic low-grade inflammation. It's just the sneaky driver, with poor metabolic health. Ultra-processed foods, stress, hormonal shifts all make this worse. And as women, because of our hormonal shifts and everything, we're more susceptible to it.
Which is sad. And I can feel that, though. I can feel days that I'm inflamed. And so if I can feel it, then it's probably way past the point of normal.
Right? Well, and that's where it gets sneaky, because it's really just that slow burning fire causing damage over time. And so it's not like it's an acute issue that you're like, I've got to fix this now. It's just there in the background causing problems. And we don't even realize how much that compounds over time.
That is so crazy. Interesting. And inflammation, does that also link to Alzheimer's?
I'm sure. I think it links to everything. I honestly think it's the underlying cause of so many things that happen. But speaking about why this hits women harder, 2/3 of all Alzheimer's cases are women, which is crazy to me. I'm like, that's scary, because that's already a concern. Like, you want to be able to age gracefully and have that health span. And so the fact that like if 2 out of 3 are women, like that's hitting us so much harder. It just is like good to understand the way that way that health is trending, so that you can understand where you lie in that, and maybe things that we can do. Because like with low grade inflammation, that's something that's one of the most changeable things in your body when you understand and have the right data and the right tools, right?
In a timely fashion, so you can make informed decisions.
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, other unique to women higher risks for us is postmenopause heart disease surge. We've talked about this before, like heart disease and stroke cause 1 in 3 women's deaths, which is more than all cancers combined.
So women are concerned about cancers usually, like in my mind. And so really we shouldn't be worrying about cancers as much as we should be worrying about heart disease and stroke, because 1 in 3 is very high.
And it's the number 1 killer of women. That's the number 1 cause of death for women is heart disease and stroke. So you're right. Like I have always been way more concerned about cancer, which is scary. It's a scary thing. You want to do everything you can to avoid that. And we've had instances of that in our own family. And so that's where the real sneaky, most likely issues we're all going to face are heart problems.
Which is crazy. So we really have to like take some deep breathing exercises.
Breathe.
But again, it's life. Like all this, to me, all of it keeps going back into lifestyle.
Yeah. Well, and the good thing about the heart disease risk is this is something that we can take control of very easily, very early, and we can change that story for ourselves. And that's what I love. I'm like, at least it's something. Cancer just feels so mysterious and out of your control, And so, but like heart disease, like that is something that we can actively support and prevent. And And by the way, you can do the same thing with a lot of cancers too. There's a lot of lifestyle changes you can make that make you drop your risk of getting something like that. So it makes me feel better that there's at least things in our own control.
Well, it's hopeful. And then you can do those and really, really have an advocate role in your own health.
Yeah, exactly. And all of this doesn't even touch on, PCOS, fertility challenges, and, amplified menopause symptoms or, early menopause symptoms. That's a very big deal. So
when women are complaining about their period, I was like, just be grateful you have a period, because there's a lot of women who don't have the period. And then that is a whole different, signals your body is trying to tell you something completely different.
Yeah, it's such a wild journey, and everybody's journey, I feel like, is so different. We all have our own challenges for sure. And that you're right. Like, I complain about my period all the time. That's me. She's talking about me, guys. But I'm like, you're right. I should just be really glad that I have one and that it's actually there normally. And it's actually somewhat consistent. Like, that's a big deal. So I have a lot to be grateful for. That's all I'm saying.
I didn't mean to call you out, but okay. Since you called yourself out.
It's cool. What are sisters for? Whatever. But the point we're making about all of this is that traditional women's healthcare is very reactive. Wait for the symptoms, give a pill. And we really want to be part of the movement that flips the script on this. There is so much that we can do to take women's healthcare into our own hands and really change this story. And it's not even that hard, guys. Print off this sheet and take it to your next wellness visit. We'll probably tweak it after we experiment on ourselves and go too, right? But flipping the script, this is where we take it into our own hands. You can build some awareness of your personal metabolic markers, and it can turn you from a passive patient into an empowered detective, which is what we're all about. Know your body, own your health. It's huge. And early data lets you act with the food that you eat, the movement that you do, with syncing your cycle, if that helps, and glucose hacks instead of just waiting for a doctor to diagnose you when all the damage has already been done.
I love that Dr. Mindy Peltzman, she said, what are you going to do today for your future self? What are you going to do to improve your health? Because if it's your habits that you do regularly that really impact your health, not the pill or the shiny new object or the quick fix. It's not the quick fixes that do it. It's what you're doing today that's going to improve your health in the long run. Don't wait until tomorrow to start. Start today.
And it's really not even about perfection. It's not like stop doing everything that's bad for you immediately. We're like, start small, right? And build. And these changes compound over time that you're just reversing a lot of the damage. And it's not a difficult thing that we're talking about.
So if you want to gain and see some long-term difference, you can start looking in at vibrant daily energy and presence, like just kind of be present and wake up clear-headed throughout your day and not be crashing in the afternoon. And this will free you up to enjoy your evenings with your family, your hobbies, instead of collapsing on the couch. So it really can empower you.
Yeah, it makes such a big difference. I mean, there's so many benefits from like just making the effort to reverse some of your metabolic markers. Like you're going to have your hormones are going to be way more in harmony with your body, right? And you're going to have easier transitions through life, right? Like if you're looking forward to perimenopause coming up in the next decade, menopause, even just regulating your cycle, right? So that you have smoother cycles. Like those transitions can be hugely improved just by making a few changes in your lifestyle, which I think is amazing. Not to mention, reclaiming confidence, comfort in your own skin. It's just insane.
And like your longevity and vitality as we get older, you want to make sure you're there for all your things. Like if you have kids, like when they get married and grandkids, and just being an active member in society as we age. I think that's huge for me, because as I see it, it's like people go two ways. They either keep going up or they decline. It's really like it gets to a point where how your lifestyle was lived depends on which way you go.
It's insane how much it's really right now you're determining how the second half of your life will go. You know what I mean? And it's like, which way is it going to go? You're right. It goes one of two ways. And so you got to decide. And I think I'm finding that like while we're doing all these experiments in the last year and like really incorporating a lot of things, is that they're pretty enjoyable. A lot of the changes are very enjoyable. I've found I think I've developed a lot more like mindful eating, because I think so much more about what that food is doing for me. You know what I mean? And that gives me a real sense of satisfaction. And the food is still very enjoyable and delicious. If anything, I've just broadened my horizons, you know?
Well, I see food now as a supplement instead of taking supplements. I mean, obviously,
Yes.
I do take some supplements, but instead of taking supplements, I look at my food as this is going to help this and this is going to help that, you know? So it's interesting how
Yeah.
my view on food has changed this year. Instead of it just tasting good, the health benefits behind eating certain foods and what is that's doing for my body, which has been a fun shift.
It legitimately feels like self-care when I'm making
Yeah.
myself like this awesome salad with like olive oil and microgreens and, you know, all the healthy fats. And I'm eating my kimchi and I'm like, oh, I'm just like, my skin's going to look so good. You know, like it just, I always tell my kids, we're just feeding the good guys inside. Like we got to feed the army in there. And so anyway, we have fun with it.
Well, and it's good for them too. It's good for them to see, and it empowers them as they grow older and know that they can make those changes and make those healthy choices. So it's
It
great.
is true. And this is the two biggest things that I really feel like we want you to take away with the potential benefit, like the long-term difference that you're going to get from focusing on these things and asking your doctor these things and learning these things is that, first of all, this is the most powerful form of prevention and reversal. You can cut your risk of type 2 diabetes, for heart disease, for stroke by 30 to 50% through simple changes. It's insane. Just that long-term effect, it just like it compounds over time, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're going to lower chronic inflammation. That's going to fuel your autoimmune issues, your brain fog. A lot of women see measurable reversal of their metabolic age. I've seen that because luckily Ways to Well, when I get my blood work done, it'll tell you this is what we think your cellular age is or your metabolic age. And I've seen that number go in reverse over the last year, which is awesome. By 3 years, I've shaved 3 years off of my it might be cellular age. But the point being that you could be on average 4.6 years younger in just 8 weeks based on studies. It can be that quickly that you're literally turning the clock back at the cellular level, which is phenomenal.
And I like that concept in the sense that, you know, life is like a roller coaster. There's definitely times in your life that you're way more stressed out than other times. And so even if you go through a stressful period, and then, you know, you start incorporating some of these lifestyle things, you can bring it back down quicker than before.
Quicker, and you have more resilience to withstand life's roller coaster. You're going to have more resilience and you're going to recover quicker, which is huge. Second thing that was the hugest part about this is that you stand to build some legacy and empowerment for the next generation of women. We talk about breaking the cycle of, you know, normal labs masking the problems and us just not really understanding what's going on in our own bodies. That change can start with us, and then we can teach that going forward. And women's health could look so different just because of the changes that we make today and share with the people around us.
Oh, I love that. That gives me chills.
I know, it's huge. Like the more I thought about this, I've just been like, it's just been blowing my mind up. I'm like, seriously, this can start with us. And this is something that can make such a huge difference, you know?
For everyone involved, like the doctors won't feel so much pressure to have to solve everything, like, you know, and so we have more control and it's more of a team effort. And so we'll get greater results when we come together as a team.
Exactly. And I feel like we probably have sounded very harsh against doctors during our conversations, you know, and let's be real. I am angry at the medical system. I feel like it fails women. I feel like it's incredibly frustrating, but I do feel like the conversation's changing, which I love. And I just would like to clarify that I'm not mad at doctors. I think that they're doing the best that they can. And I honestly think that they don't have enough time in a day with all the challenges that they face and treating patients to help us learn the lifestyle that's going to support our health. Like that's really not what they're there for, and they don't have the time to do it. So let's be fair. Doctors are doing their best for the most part. We just think that the system needs to be improved.
Well, yeah, the system does not set our doctors up for success.
Yes.
And so we need to help them so that we can work together as a team and each own our part. Like we can own the lifestyle part. They can help us interpret the labs and progress and move forward.
And help with acute problems.
Yep.
You put it so much better than me. Thank you.
What?
I said, you put that so much better than me. Thank you.
Oh, say that again. Oh, just kidding. But that being said, we did make our list to take into the doctor. So let's go over the list of what we want to go. This is our experimental idea on what we want to bring to our doctor on our next visit to help team up with them and to be proactive for women's health specifically.
Yes.
So our first question is we're going to ask our doctors is, can we run the core metabolic panel? So this is basically just based on all those amazing doctors that we talked about earlier. They want to tie directly to women's hormone balance and the fasting success in our body and how we are doing with that. So we're going to ask for fasting glucose. We're going to ask for our triglycerides, our HDL, and
our HbA1c, right? Your A1C score is huge
A1C.
For your insulin resistance, right?
And then fasting insulin, because that none of those they will do on your annual checkups unless you ask for that. So you really have to be very specific and target those, because that is what will help you understand your glucose spikes and your insulin and all of those.
Your overall sensitivity to insulin. Yeah. And the big thing about that is you can even ask the doctor, can we calculate it's called the HOMA-IR. It's the HOMA-IR. And this is like the report card for how well your cells are listening to insulin. So the lower the score, the better. And it's one of the most powerful early warning tools that we have. And really all it requires is that we ask the doctor for your fasting insulin and your glucose. And so you take those numbers and you're able to calculate that score and understand kind of how your body is operating with insulin.
So I wonder if I could ask the doctors of function help to do that for me, because all of that is done when I go through them. So I wonder.
Yeah, mine too.
So I'm going to actually ask them for that. So then when I go into my doctor, I want to see if it changes or
that's a good idea. And we have done some blood work. So some of this we're able to do already, but we included them with the questions for a complete picture of this is the top 5 things that you can get started on understanding yourself. And then we'll have in the future, a companion guide of the things that you can do at home to also determine your metabolic markers, right? Because those are 2 different things. It needs the help of a doctor, and I can do on my own and be a detective, right? So, but you're right. We could totally calculate our HOMA-IR score or whatever now. So that would be cool.
I'm not going to calculate it. I'm going to message them in Function Health and say,
can you do this for me? Let the scientists do it. Okay, next question. Please run a full thyroid panel plus ferritin and iron studies and vitamin D. And let's review them in the context of my cycle and my energy levels. So this is huge. And your full thyroid panel, we're talking about like TSH, free T3, free T4, and antibodies. So it'll all be on the cheat sheet. But basically, we want to look at how's your thyroid functioning, how are your iron and iron stores, and how's your vitamin D, because these 3 are just critically important for understanding how your body's energy and cycle is running.
And typically women are low in iron and vitamin D.
Yeah, those are some of the top ones that we're deficient in on a regular basis. Those 2 and magnesium, I feel like. So.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so our third question is, we're going to ask the doctor, I'm still cycling, or in Mallory's situation, or in my situation where I think I'm in perimenopause, but can we also check my sex hormones timed with my cycle? Because all of this whole year has taught me how important your cycle is to your health and your moods and all of that, because since I've really started honing in on that, which I didn't even know anything about that until you started bringing this up, Mallory. So thank you. And all of the successes I've had since then, like really going with your cycle and matching to what your body needs at that time, is different from week to week because of women and how we do cycle. So this will be interesting to ask the doctor and get true check on how we are doing with our progesterone, our testosterone, and what's the estrogen. Yeah. And I'm going into perimenopause. And so I really want to have the Dutch test done. Gary Brackett did this episode about his wife, because he was saying how she was hormonally shifting and doing all this place. And so finally he did the Dutch test on her, and then they really honed in on what she needed to target. And then they fixed it. And within a month, I want to say, she felt like her old self again. So that was really interesting, because with my HMO doctor, they were saying how everybody, they put them on a generic script. Like everybody starts on this generic script of support. And that I don't think is right, because depending what you need may be totally different than what I need.
You talk about like hormone replacement therapy. Is that what we're talking about? Like they just put them on like a generic prescription.
Yeah.
That's very true. And everybody, you don't know how much you need. That's the thing that's hard for me, which we will talk about hormone replacement therapy, but it's just throwing, like pumping hormones in there. I feel like you have to be very careful about how you do that. So that makes sense.
I agree. So the Dutch test is a very specific test where it's a urine test, and it's not like Function Health or Weights and Wells where it's a one shot, where it's like a snapshot one day.
Picture. Yeah.
It's more, you do a test, it's the night before, the day, like a couple of days in a row.
So it's like a 24-hour, like you can see where your hormones are over 24 hours. So you do, I think like 5 times that you do samples, and then they assess them for that 24-hour period or something. We're going to look into this. The Dutch test is actually something that I want to try too, because I think that this could be a lot more informational about understanding your own body and your hormone cycle over a 24-hour period versus a one-time, probably in the morning snapshot.
So we will definitely have a whole episode just on the Dutch test. So that's coming up. But we just wanted to put it out there. If you've ever heard of it and you're interested in it, it would be something that has helped a lot of people.
Yeah. And in the meantime, ask your doctor to test your hormones, your sex hormones, time to your cycle. And it is important to time it to your cycle when you're doing that blood test. Otherwise, it's useless, because we're very, the roller coaster. You got to understand where you are on the roller coaster to understand the data. So, okay, next one. Can we add high sensitivity CRP, which is the HS-CRP, for inflammation, and interpret all of these labs against optimal, not just average ranges for metabolic and hormonal health? So this is basically testing like inflammation markers in your blood and comparing them against optimal ranges, considering metabolic and hormonal health. So this is kind of overall just an inflammation question that you want to understand. Are you dealing with chronic inflammation? Are you not? How bad is it?
It's a silent killer.
Yep.
And then the last question is, based on the results you get, what is the root cause? Trying to figure out a lifestyle plan to move forward based on your metabolic and hormone health. And then can we retest in 3 months to track real progress? So that's where we kind of need to come together as a team and flip the script and do it differently than what it's traditionally doing. Instead of seeing your doctor once a year or even maybe twice a year, you really want to come up with it. Once we get these results back and talk about it, let's develop a plan and intimate like changes, and then come back and test again in 3 months so that you can say, are these changes really working? Are they really helping me, or do I need to shift to something else?
Yes. Yep. I love it. And, for all of you pros out there, like if you pair this, also do your continuous glucose monitor and start to understand how your body's responding, how your insulin's doing, your glucose levels. How's that curve look? Is it flattened? Is it a roller coaster? All of these things are things that are so within your control. And I think the more you understand them, the better the rest of your life's going to be.
I agree. And because it just empowers you, it just gives you information to make decisions. Like, I could do that, but this is what the consequence is going to be. So then you can just make that for yourself, and everybody's different.
It's so true. Yep. So those are the 5 questions. Those are the ones that we're going to take to our doctors, and we think you should too. And then message us, email us, hello@mywellnessrewired.com. Let us know how the conversation goes. Do you get pushback from your doctors? Were there things they wouldn't test? Did your insurance cover it? Like, we would love to hear more information if you're going to experiment with us about what kind of response you got and what kind of results you were able to obtain, because that would be awesome to hear. We would love to hear from you. Okay, I think that's it. So we just want to, just to wrap up, let's keep our eyes wide open about the way that the system is still mostly set up to wait until you're sick before it acts. And on top of that, our hormone shifts in ways that quietly crank up our metabolic dysfunction, our inflammation, our heart disease, the actual #1 killer of women, and Alzheimer's. Again, 2/3 of those cases. So the numbers are brutal, and we're living it through fatigue, through cycle mess, and through harsh perimenopausal grind. So these are things that we need to be open and aware of the challenges we're facing, just so that we can see how much the little things that we're doing make such a big difference against this battle.
But the truth is, your body changes fast, so you have to give the right inputs. So you need to get your actual markers so you know your real data and what you're actually targeting, and then you need to make it consistent. consistent moves, whether it's with your food, whether it's with your sleep, movement, your glucose control. You need to be consistent so that it really can cut your inflammation, balance your hormones, prevent major diseases, and even reverse your metabolic age, which is the hope for all us women out there.
Yay.
Plenty of women out there are struggling, and then we can all do this together. So we need to come together as a team and really make a difference in ourselves so we can feel better.
Yes. And understand what is possible. Real steady energy instead of dragging through your days. Easier cycles or easier menopause or perimenopause. A body that works for you instead of against you. Clearer head. Fewer doctor's visits with problems. And the confidence that comes from actually protecting your future health. It's not perfect. It's not overnight. It's just steady progress that adds up to a much stronger and longer life.
I love that. We're in it together. Every time you walk into an appointment, have questions, be prepared, track your data, take action so that you can move your own woman's health forward and move from being reactive to proactive, and share out what works. Share out with your friends and share out with us. We would love to hear about it. What is working and what is making you feel better? And then what are you teaching the next generation? Like, how are you teaching them to own their own health?
Yeah, this is how we take our power back. Absolutely. Okay, don't forget to grab the free cheat sheet, mywellnessrewired.com/shop. Ask those 5 questions at your next appointment. Tag us with your results, #wellnessrewired. We can't wait to hear what shifts for you. And remember, ladies, our mission is simple: to help you truly know your body and take ownership of your health. What we have learned in our own family health curveballs has changed everything for us. And now we're here to share it with as many women as possible. If this episode lit a spark for you, or if it made you think of an incredible woman in your life, please share it. Hit like, follow our show, spread our message, and bring some real health inspiration to the women in your life. And we'll catch you guys next time. Get warmed up. You can build some awareness of your personal metabolic All right. Let me start over again.
I wonder, in my wellness, not my wellness, that's ours.
That's us. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. Where do I go to get my blood work done?
Function Health.
Dutch test done, which Dr.
Mindy Pels. Dr.
She
Hyman?
does talk about that. No, wow. The guy that talked about you earlier, told you about it earlier.
Was it Gary Brecka?
Thank you.
Okay.
Take 2. So.
All right, you wellness rock stars. That's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep. We are not doctors. We are just sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always, always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.